What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching The College Startup, and in this video, we're gonna talk about how to stay motivated. If you're new here, I post weekly content about college startup life. So if that's something you're interested in, you might consider subscribing and commenting down below what video you guys would like to see next. All right, let's get to the video. So my most productive days are often dependent on how I prepare the night before. Typically, that means just scheduling the tasks I need to get done, but more specifically, I like to allocate 2 or 3 hours to relax and wind down and do the things I would want to be doing while I'm trying to be productive. In other words, most of the time when I'm trying to be productive, I get really tempted to want to be on YouTube, or for some people it's play video games. But by scheduling my time to do that at the end of each day, it keeps me focused on what I need to get done now, because no matter what, I'll have time to do the things I'd rather be doing at the end of my day. So let me show you my schedule and show you what I mean. So here's a look at my schedule for this week, and the green events on the very bottom of each of these days is labeled decompression. So for most of the days here, I have 2 to 3 hours dedicated just for me to relax. And this is what I mean by giving yourself time to do things that are not so focused on just being productive. So starting the day by scheduling time to relax and decompress has helped me tremendously to stay productive day in and day out. Because no matter what, I promise myself I'm gonna give myself time to do other things at the end of the day. All right. Your boy actually found parking. So normally if you were to ask somebody where they struggle the most with motivation, they'll tell you it's the motivation to get started. And this is the same with me. Now this next tip comes straight from a book I read recently called Unfuck Yourself, which I'll link in the description below. And it's written by a guy named Gary John Bishop. What he says is based on the following premise: you are not your thoughts, but you are what you do. So for me, when I have a hard time getting started, it's normally because I'm thinking about how much I don't want to do that thing, or how hard it's going to be, or how much it's going to suck. But what Gary says is that you will always still have the power to do that thing anyways. So all the times you're thinking about how you don't want to do something, you can do it anyways. You always have the power to get it done despite your thoughts. All right. Okay. All right, so for this next tip, it's actually a mixture of 3 things, and I'm gonna shout out each person that I got it from. Essentially, all these things have to do with looking at things from a bigger picture. So the first person I'd like to shout out is Stephen Covey, who wrote the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And essentially what he says is, effective people always start with the end in mind. In other words, because they see the end, they also see things from a bigger picture. And because of this, they tend to get through the monotony of the daily grind a little easier than everyone else. It's really easy to get caught up in trying to be productive every day and trying to stay on top of your daily tasks. So by starting with the end in mind, I think it'll help all of us get through our daily routine. The second person I'd like to shout out is actually a fellow YouTuber named Elliot Choi, who essentially says to try to visualize success. In other words, whatever your goal is, try to really feel how it will feel once you achieve that goal. I've been doing this a lot myself, trying to actually feel how it would feel to, have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, or to get an A in that class, or for my business to finally launch. And it's really kept me motivated to get that thing done and put aside just trying to be productive. And the last person I want to shout out is again Gary John Bishop, who basically says, treat success like it's just around the corner. Oftentimes we do things without really believing it's going to happen. And if we actually treated everything like we knew success was a week away, 2 weeks away, then not only will we be more confident in what we're doing, we'll also get things done a lot faster because success is just around the corner, like he says. All right, well, I gotta go to class, so I'll see you guys there. I'm being honest, when it comes to me achieving my goals, motivation is probably the very last thing I rely on to achieve them. And the reason why is because motivation is highly dependent on your emotions. And I don't know about you, but I'm moody like half the day if I'm being honest. So to rely on motivation is almost like relying on something super unstable. Instead, what I really try to do is rely on good habits, because good habits is what's gonna get you through the hard times. Motivation wavers. If there's anything you should be motivated on, it would be to develop better habits. And I can make a whole video about doing that. But if you wanna get started, I recommend you just set really attainable goals and sticking to them until you become consistent at it. And I'm talking about goals that are like no-brainer. So maybe your end goal is to study for 8 hours a day. Start with 30, you know? Or start with 30, take a freaking hour break, and come back and repeat and see how many times you can do that. Before you know it, it's gonna get to the point where studying just becomes second nature. You don't need to rely on motivation to get things done. It's just habit. Anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is motivation is great, but at the end of the day, good habits is really what's gonna carry you through those times when you're not motivated, which, I mean, for a lot of us is most of the time, right? Just try your best to be consistent. You know, I heard once that being great at anything is just being good repeatedly. So it's something to think about, and I know this is not really a motivational tip, but I think for most of us, we're just trying to be productive and trying to get things done, and for sure, just developing good habits is really gonna take you there. But yeah, I'll see you guys when I get home. All right guys, to recap, my 4 tips for staying motivated is 1, schedule time to relax every single day. 2, you are not your thoughts, you are what you do. The 3rd is a mixture of 3 things, all centered around thinking big picture. The first being start with the end in mind. The second is visualize your goal. And the 3rd is treat success like it's just around the corner. And last but not least, motivation is really just a great way to get you started. But at the end of the day, getting yourself over the hump is fully dependent on you being consistent and developing great habits. All right guys, well that concludes the video this week. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you sticking around. If you're new here, you might consider subscribing and commenting down below what kind of videos you'd like to see next. Thank you for watching The College Startup, and I'll see you guys next week.